bookish besties, we are back with the Booktube Newbie Tag. I'm really excited to do this. It's kind of like an introduction video, just so we can get to know each other a little bit better. I am pretty new to Booktube. I'm gonna jump right in. So the first tag question is, why did I create this channel? I've always loved media. I mean, my degree is in media. When we were growing up, me and my siblings were always making videos that may or may not still be somewhere on YouTube. So if you see them, no, you did not. But we just loved making videos whenever we kind of grew up, and my sister got married and I got married, and we were kind of like all living in different states. My brother is in film school to be a producer and director and a cinematographer, and we have just always loved videos and photos. I am a photographer. I'm a wedding photographer on the weekends. So this is just very much something that I have always loved to do. I work in a full-time marketing job during the week. All I do is read. That is like my one hobby, is reading. And so I was thinking, why not pursue that a little bit more and create things out of what I enjoy doing. And I mean, if I'm going to be reading, I might as well do a little social media with it, make a book channel, and chat with other people that like books as well. The second question kind of pins on to the first question. What are some fun and unique things that you can bring to YouTube? And for that, I would say, being that I work in marketing full time, I'm very familiar with how quick things can change online. Trends, hashtags, SEO, the marketing space just seems to be different every single day. We're working with influencer marketing, individual marketing, UGC content, so there's just so many different areas within social media for so many different people, and my job is literally to tap into all of those different avenues. And I spend my entire week talking about SEO, working on keywords, I'm working on advertising, I'm designing ads, designing billboards, and so everything I do revolves kind of around this marketing and content creation. So bringing that into a creative space and into one of my hobbies is something that I'm just so excited to do. I've never done it really. And so I think, I have all of these marketing skills. I know what drives the market, and I know the books that people are reading, and I know what I like to read. So why not just put those two together? The third tag question is, what are you most excited about for your channel? And I've seen this a little bit over on Book Talk. The community of readers is, bar none, the best. It's such a family, and we can all just geek out about the books that we read. Like, where else, other than on the internet, do you get to yap incessantly about the books you're reading, about the books you want to read, about piling up your physical TBR without reading what you have? Where else do you get to just talk about that for hours? I'm really excited to connect with other people that like to read. I could just sit here and talk about my favorite books and characters and, just geek out all day. So now I get to do that. Now I have an outlet to yap about books. It's gonna be great, and I'm so excited. I have already started to lose my voice just from starting to make content. The fourth tag question is, why do you love reading? The answer to this question is going to go all the way back to young Maddie. So when I was probably in first or second grade, some of my earliest memories are my grandmother walking me to the public library. We would check out books, and I was always so fascinated that you could check out more than one book at a time. So we would walk there. It didn't matter if we were leaving from her work. We would walk a couple blocks up to the library. It was a small town, and our public library was literally in our backyard. So no matter where I was after school, we could walk to the library, and that was just such a pillar moment for me growing up, of my grandma taking me to the library. My grandmother actually passed away a few years ago, and one of the things that we had at our wedding was some of her really old books, and so we would have little stacks of vintage books on the tables as centerpieces. And I'm not going to be like super emotional and say that reading connects me back to her, but just some of my earliest memories were of reading. And so now I love the story. I love characters. Some of my earliest memories are reading Nancy Drew books. I read those like somebody was going to take them away from me. I was just knocking those things out of the library. I mean, I would read them in like 2 days as a kid. And so I love to think that I know so many people just because they're characters in the book, and I get to experience so many different stories and so many different aspects of life, different countries, different hobbies, different jobs, and you just get to feel all of that in books. And so I love just the immersive experience of reading. What book series got you into reading? And I just answered that with Nancy Drew. But I think sometimes there are moments in your life where there are series that keep you in reading, and so I can kind of touch on that. So the series that got me into reading was Nancy Drew. She was my homegirl. That was probably elementary school, Nancy Drew. In middle school, it was The Clique. The Clique, when I tell you it had me in a chokehold, I was itching for Lizzie Harrison to drop the next book. I am still, as an adult, searching for that entire series to add to my bookshelf. I want to reread them. I want the whole series. I want the regular Clique series, then I want the individual books where it's like in the summer, the Massey Dillon, Alicia, and Claire books, and then I want the Collectionary, and there was another one that came out after the like summer books of the girls. I loved that series. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really believe anyone who loved the Clique series in middle school, we are the same group who loved Magnolia Arcs. There's just something about those two series that just makes sense in my brain why I love to read. So Magnolia Parks is my favorite book series at this point of all time. I don't see anything dethroning it that is above any fantasy series right now. I have not read Throne of Glass, so that could change, but Magnolia Parks, that is my series. I love them. The next question on the Newbie Book Tag is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Nowadays, so many booktubers are so approachable, and you can shoot them a question and they will answer it. I think I would ask them some of these questions. Why did you start your channel? What book series got you into reading? Because I think that's just so fascinating, and it kind of helps you construct your view of someone when you know more about them. Why did you start? What do you love about Booktube? What do you not like about Booktube? I think I would just ask them some of these similar questions. The next question, what challenges will be the hardest in Booktube? And this list, I'm sure, is infinitely long. There are so many challenges that come when you're starting something new, no matter if it's Booktube or if it's a business or if you're having a new baby. There are just so many challenges along the way that you can't even see. But for now, I would say one of the biggest challenges is just time. I mean, I work a full-time job, I'm involved in my church, I'm married, and so sometimes there's just not endless amounts of time to film, to read. But what I've found is that most things that are worth doing take sacrifice, and they take you being intentional and consistent. And so that's just the mantra I've had with this of, we're going to be consistent, we're going to film, we're not going to care what people say, we're not going to think too hard about the way we look and the way we talk. We're just going to do it, and we're going to enjoy it, because who cares? Literally, who cares? You can do whatever you want to do, and you can be confident in that. You just have to choose to be confident. Even though I would say like being on camera is a challenge, and finding ideas is a challenge, I think the biggest challenge is just doing it. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is the first step. So we are overcoming challenges. We are overcoming our insecurities together. We are overcoming anything that stands in our way from where we are trying to go. So Booktube is where I'm trying to go, and we're not going to let anything stand in the way. I'm going to kind of skip over the next question. It says, when did you start reading? I really answered that because I've been yapping. So the question after that is, where do you read? I'm sitting right where I read. On my couch, bookshelf, window, TV. This is where I read. I'll put Booktube on the TV, I'll read here on my couch. Sometimes I read in bed, but who are we kidding? If I start reading in bed, there's not going to be much reading. I'm going to be asleep. I can fall asleep in 5 minutes. So I love to read here. Whenever it cools down a little bit, I do like to read in the hammock. I like to read on the back porch, but typically it's here on the couch. And the last question is, what kinds of books do you read? If you can see and like peep around, this is one of my bookshelves. The other, if you've watched the reorganizing and the bookish things video, there's another one in my kitchen, and then there's one upstairs with nonfiction. I actually did pull a lot of my nonfiction off of there so that my husband has more space on that shelf for his. But I read romance, fantasy, romantasy, thrillers, nonfiction. I don't love horror. I do like a good thriller, but I don't love horror. And don't call me out on this. I don't love dark romance. I am just a very light, bright, bubbly person, and sometimes dark romance is just a little much for me. There, I'm sure, are certainly books that I could like and I could get into, but as a whole, I just don't think I own a lot of dark romance books, and so I am typically romance, fantasy, romantasy, thrillers, mysteries. That's basically it. And there's a few nonfiction in there. I also like to read business books that help me in my work and kind of go off of my education. I have a degree in business administration with a focus in digital marketing and advertising, and then I have my master's degree in visual communication design. So I'm hoping that I can continue my studies by reading books. I don't want to go back to school for anything. I'm done with school. So with that all being said, that's the end of the newbie tag. I'm just really excited to be here. I enjoy talking about books. I enjoy reading books. And this is just a little insight into who I am, why I'm here, and I hope that you'll follow along. I hope that you'll stay here. This is kind of like an experiment for me being in marketing. If I can market for work, I can market for this. Like, we can do this. We got this. So if you are a fellow book bestie, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Comment on if any of this sounds like things that you resonate with. Do you read the same things? Did you read Nancy Drew? Did you read The Click? I will go feral over The Click. If you read any of these, let me know. And if you just want to say hi, I will say hi back. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!